A great many people say that he is shy, and he is shy.
I mean, the gruff exterior is what most people see, and they always take him at face value.
I've read rumors for years about George being uncooperative.
He's a very easy actor to work with.
We call him the boss, we call him El Jefe.
He's a very generous and sincere person. There's no malarkey with him. He tells you something, he means it.
If I had one actor to choose whom I'd like to work with, it would have been George C. Scott.
George Campbell Scott has been nominated for an Academy Award 3 times. He turned the nomination down twice, but the second time he won anyway for his performance in Patton. Now he's in Spain making The Last Run for MGM, the 15th picture in his controversial, success-studded career. A classic suspense story that might get its star still another Oscar nomination. Scott plays a man very much like himself, a tough, intelligent, strong-willed character named Harry Gomes. His co-stars are Trish Van Devere and Tony Musante, and Scott's wife, Colleen Dewhurst.
You are driving again for criminals.
I'm driving again for me. Because I'm getting ready to die sitting down here. I'm driving again. See if my nerves and my brain are still connected.
George was a reasonably strong boy. He was never sickly or anything like that. He was a normal growing boy. We lost his mother when he was 7, which was very unfortunate.
I wanted to be a journalist. I wanted to be a creative writer.
He had an old beat-up typewriter, and he whammed on it all the free time that he had.
I didn't have the ability for it. And I was a little desperate and frustrated and lost. And happened to go out for a college play out of boredom.
The only real differences of opinion that George and I ever had was because I didn't feel he should become an actor.
I did that play and did half a dozen plays in college, and a fellow saw me and offered me a job, and I've been acting professionally ever since.
Scott's first picture was called The Hanging Tree. It was an auspicious beginning.
Then I did Anatomy right after that for Otto Preminger.
Squat, Miss Pallant. Barney Quill was squat, Miss Pallant.
Now, don't make trouble, Miss Ladybug. Live and let live. And I did The Hustler for Bob Rawson, and I was, you could say, on the way. I began my career by playing villains. The only thing that rescued me from continuing that was that I managed to get back to comedy a little bit.
Scott played the unforgettable general Bat Guano in Dr. Strangelove. He went back to drama in Petulia with Julie Christie, then finally got his chance to play a real hero.
Finally got to Patton a couple of years ago. You don't get that kind of volatile material too often to work with. He was a remarkable human being, and I'm a little more notorious now than I was before that, but I do account it a great boost in my career.
You won't let me kill the enemy? Why did you pick me to command? Where you going, General? Berlin! I'm going to personally shoot that paper hanging son of...
Fantastic character to play, and I enjoyed doing him. I feel that we're still friends.
And now, The Last Run. Scott has been compared to James Cagney, to Spencer Tracy, and to Humphrey Bogart. His character in this film is closest to Bogart, an aging ex-criminal responsible only to himself.
I've never, ever really been able to play a kind of an adventure semi-hero.
Tony Musante plays an escaped criminal. The kind of part Scott used to play.
Tony is an experienced actor and a very sweet human being, and able and capable.
Yeah, we're doing another take.
My whole hope in this career has been to try not to repeat myself. And this was kind of what I'd never done. It was the kind of part that Bogey was good in and liked doing. It's the kind of good bad man who's sort of lost and very much alone, who enters into a situation and has to commit himself. And that's the kind of guy that Harry Garms is.
Whether he's a bogey-type character or not, I call George Scott, to me, is one of the great cigarette smokers of the world. He can do more with a cigarette in just looking at you and talking to you, and particularly in how he plays it in the scene, and it becomes a tool.
Maybe it was me. Maybe I masterminded it.
Hold up, Uncle. Don't go getting all excited.
What were you inside for?
That had nothing to do with it.
Got you out to kill you, Ricard. That's why they got you out. What I want to know is why they wanted to kill you.
Well, that's my business.
Oh, my business now. Because when they come looking for you, I go down too. That makes it my business.
When you're working with a guy like Scott, I mean, he does 95% of your work. There's nothing like working with a good actor.
Trish, this is her third film, I think, and she never had a part this big. We've all tried to be as helpful to her as we possibly can to keep her confidence and to try to let her relax. And she's coming along beautifully. She's going to be a fine little actress, I think.
My father was chased by bank managers and finance companies and doctors. He got it in the stomach.
Shot?
No. Duodenal ulcer perforated. He didn't say anything memorable when he died either. He just lay there breathing his breath on my mother till she had to run out of the room and be sick. And when she was out of the room, he died.
Very nice. To work to a lens is one of the colder endeavors of all time. The most intelligent way to approach a 3-second bit is to underplay it as much as possible.
I'll go with you.
You will? I did it twice. I thought the first time was adequate. The second time was bad, and I asked Fleischer to burn the second one last night when we saw it in the dailies because I didn't like it. You will. It's always difficult to tell as you're doing a film because you're relatively close to it. I think it's a picture that people will enjoy and the kind of character that people will enjoy. If you get 50% of what you hope for, you're a lucky actor.
He's always said to me, Dad, I do the very best that I know how, with my mind, with my body. I get well paid for it. And therefore, they don't owe me anything like Oscars or anything else.
The Academy Award has been important to actors in the past. I've won a number of awards from time to time over the years. I have absolutely nothing against them. I think they're nice. It's wonderful. Somebody calls you up on the phone and says you won something. I'm very happy to accept it and appreciate it. My big thing with the Academy Awards is that it's blown up out of all proportion.
He makes unique, unusual, dangerous choices.
It has certain corrupting commercial aspects to it, of which I disapprove. And frankly, I don't care to be involved in it. Never have.
I think he had it in his heart and in his soul. And when you do that, you've got to be right. But he's worked very, very, very hard.
I've been acting for 22 years, professionally. And that's all I do. It's easy, it's difficult, it's tedious, it's rewarding at times. There's certain elements of hell in it. But it's a way to make a living and pay the rent and so forth. And I enjoy it. Many times I enjoy it. Most of the time I enjoy it.
Like Harry Gomes in The Last Run, George C. Scott is a rare combination of strength and sensitivity, a unique individual in the tradition of Bogart and Hemingway.